Hi ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So this is a bit of an unusual post for us at Experiences with My Father. And the reason I feel the need to make this post to you really is warnings, really giving you a warning. So as you know, probably as you've seen from previous posts, we did a trip to Florida in Easter 2024. I'm filming this in summer 2024. And the reason I've taken a while to film this is basically because I wanted to give Airbnb really a long and fair chance to rectify what I felt needed to be rectified. They haven't done so, and so I thought I'd share my experience with you, hence why I'm wearing my grumpy t-shirt, because I am a bit grumpy. So I thought I'd just go through the whole experience with you and explain to you why we as a family will not be booking through Airbnb again. Obviously, it's entirely up to you what you do, but I would advise nobody to book through Airbnb. So, as I say, we went to Orlando, Florida, stayed in Kissimmee, that sort of area, and we booked here. This is advertised as a modern 4-bed. It's 4-bed. Yeah, 4-bed villa with all the amenities that we required. So, games room in the garage, swimming pool, comfy furniture, a safe. These are the things that we really wanted. A safe environment for my son and all of us, but especially my son. So that's what we booked, or should I say, what we thought we booked. So, it all started to go wrong really as soon as we got there. So my mum and dad arrived at the villa, a day before Theo and I landed. They came and got us on the Sunday, they got there on the Saturday. They travelled into Orlando and then they did a little bit of a tour through Savannah and Charleston before they drove back down to Kissimmee and then stayed in the villa. Now, my mum's first reactions when she got in the villa was, to be totally frank, disappointment. It was rather shabby. It looked like it hadn't been cared for quite some time. There was chips in the woodwork, bits missing off woodwork, chips in the general decor. The whole place needed really a refresh with regarding to paint, etc. Now, in fairness to the villa owners, they had redone the floors since we'd looked at the photos. The floors had a kind of like a Candine floor, wooden flooring put throughout, which can't have been cheap, to be fair. And that was rather nice. That looked rather good. And there was large smart screen TVs in all of the bedrooms and the living area. So those things have been updated. However, the general quality of the place was really quite shabby. The lounge sofas were leather, but the leather was so deteriorated it started to crack and degrade, and the sort of cushioning, the wadding, if you like, in the sofas had really started to go as well. So if you've got, if you have bad back, bad knees, what have you, just slightly old, it was a bit of a struggle to get in and out of these sofas. And, if you're, wanting to watch a movie, say in the evening, after a short amount of time, it wasn't very comfortable sitting in them. To fix this, the owners evidently had just put a throw over the settee, which didn't look nice, didn't feel nice, and wouldn't, really fix the issues. So that was, the main issue in the living area. We also had it where the bedrooms, some of the mattresses were really quite shot. They needed to be replaced, to be totally honest with you. Either very lumpy or just lost their sort of substance, really, for you to get a good night's sleep. The games area Also, the I think it was the foosball table, or it might no, it was the air hockey table. Sorry, one of the legs had sort of been damaged so much so that we had to sort of stack some stuff up to try and make it level. Just really shabby. Just like you'd almost be better not having it. To be honest with you, just having a garage back. Because it was just so shabby. It wasn't air conditioned. There was fans in there, but it wasn't really air conditioned, so you couldn't really enjoy it anyway. So unfortunately, I did insist, and I will take this on the chin, for us to have a sort of games roomy area because I thought it'd be useful, especially for me and Theo. However, to be honest, we didn't really use it that much, and I wish we'd have had far more options with far more villas if we hadn't have taken that villa. So, or hadn't have insisted. I hadn't insisted on that option. Other things really inside the villa, the bathroom, family bathroom, had a Hossinger big hole in it. So interestingly, in America, well, Florida, I only know really about Florida, the sinks aren't made out of porcelain or sort of ceramic as we have. They are made from metal. So if they have a chip, they will rust, and then evidently something must have dropped on there. It's quite heavy for it to cause such a dent. Now, we went over there in March. Now, there had been a complaint about this in the previous August, and we kind of assumed it would have been fixed. And you know what they say about making assumptions. And yeah, it was still there, whacking great big hole in the sink. So again, just the general looking after the place or not looking after the place, very shabby. Most of the furniture in the bedrooms, in the lounge, as I say, looked like it needed replacing, and probably replacing a few years ago, to be honest. Then you've got the outside. The outside was also very, very disappointing. The pool had a lot of chips within the base of it. The general area was very shabby, needed painting, needed re-looking at. The furniture, which we, again, looking at the pictures we chose because it's this tubular furniture which we know to be comfortable, had a lot of rips, tears, just really not looked after. I can't understand why you would invest your money in having a villa over there and then not looking after it. So that was really quite poor. One of the worst things, though, about outside for us around the villa was that before we booked the villa, we asked them specifically, are there any cameras around the pool area? Now, I'm a big guy. I don't need people watching me splashing like Shamu in and out of the pool. So we asked them specifically, are there any cameras? Nope, no cameras. Okay, fine. So that was one of our concerns, so we booked it. So those are the concerns at this point. Now, as I say, I'm not arrived there at this point. This is just mum and dad getting there. So they wait a day. Theo and I turn up. They drive us to the villa, as you've seen in our vlog. We saw the car and got into the villa, and then to us, we were so tired, we pretty much went to bed. Anyway, next day, my mum says, "Can you just look outside and see if there are two? I think there are cameras. Can you just check what you think?" So I go out there and I see these. Pretty obviously, they are cameras. They've got night vision on them. They are hardwired. The wire goes through the cage into the attic or roof or whatever of the villa. So this is completely in contradiction to apparently Airbnb's rules, so I've heard, so I've seen, but also completely against what we asked and what we were told we were hiring. So at this point, Mum had already looked online in the evening whilst Theo and I gone to bed. Mum had already looked online to see if there were any other villas available. Now, as you probably know, if you're going to Disney, if you're going to Florida, Easter is ridiculously busy. It is one of their busiest periods there. So, unfortunately, there was nothing else for us. There was nothing else that we could use. And then we started to notice more and more things that weren't at the villa. So we had the cameras that shouldn't have been there that were there. There was no safe, but we were told there was. There was no shower outside by the pool to sort of get the pool water off you before you went into the villa. We were told there was. There was a number of things like that. I can't remember all of them off my list, but there's quite a lot. And so we would email the owners and sort of say, you said there's a safe. And you'd have to have 3 or 4 emails before you finally got a response. And usually the responses were a bit shirty, if I'm honest. Very much like, oh yeah, it broke, so we didn't bother replacing it. Well, don't advertise you got it then, and that was constant. The other thing with the villa was the problem. So the cameras are a big thing, and the other thing that we found a big problem is about a week into the holiday. Sorry, I don't know why. I just decided I'm going to check my bedroom window, see if it's locked, and it wasn't. Now this is a villa, which is a ground floor villa, otherwise known as a bungalow to us. It backs onto woodlands that go straight to a main road. So, in all honesty, you could walk from the main road, right through the woods, right up to the bug cage, right up to all the properties. So the estate also didn't have. Some estates have like gated communities. This wasn't a gated community either. So that was a bit of a concern, as you can imagine. You're sort of thinking, well, God, anybody could get in here at any point. There's no alarm system on the villa. We used to have a villa many years ago. We were very fortunate. We sold it, gosh, I don't know, 15 years ago. And so we have an idea on what the rules were. Certainly in that, I think we were in Osceola County, if I remember correctly. Now this was in the next one along, but I'd have thought the rules would be pretty similar, and I would have thought that they wouldn't slacken. They'd probably get worse, or get not sort of worse, but stricter as times go on. So anyway, we were informed when we had a villa, you had to have an alarm. You also had to have a bar across where the patio doors, the sliding patio doors, you had to have a bar that went in there to, again, more security to stop people being able to slide those doors open easily. Alarms on doors, so you knew when people were going in and out. And what was the other thing? Oh yeah, fire alarm. We had a box that was on the wall which had a battery in it with two whacking great big lights which would point to exits. So in the case of like storms, like hurricanes and stuff, power outages, stuff like that, or obviously fires or what have you, these would automatically light up where you need to go to exit the property. None of that was there that I could see. None of it. And I hunted for it. I properly looked for it. You're also supposed to have a route, a map on the villa, so people can, I guess, plan their escape routes. You're supposed to have that shown. We found it actually on the last few days of the holiday on top of the very dirty, greasy, dusty fridge. And then you're also supposed to have a notice of your insurance to sort of say that the property is insured and that it's, I believe it's supposed to be licensed for sort of hotelier sort of licensing as well. These are all the things that certainly we did when we owned a villa, because we did it properly, basically. You want people to enjoy themselves. You want people to have a good holiday. At the end of the day, it's not cheap. You get your flights over there. This holiday took us years in the planning. Then we had COVID, then my mum had cancer, then my mum had a knee operation, so it was delayed. And we were really looking forward to this holiday. Lots of plans, lots of hopes and dreams, if you like. And this villa nearly cost us nigh on $5,000 to have for the period of time we had it. So, when you sort of think you're paying, not a small amount of money for it. The holiday itself is very expensive, but the villa is a big part of that cost. You expect it to be clean. You expect it to be as advertised. That's the minimal you can really expect. You hope that the owners would go above and beyond, but this owner certainly hasn't. So all communications with them were poor. They didn't really want to talk to us. As I say, my mum, bless her, would email them a number of times before they finally get a shirty answer back. So at this point, I discovered my bedroom window was unlocked, so obviously I locked it. So then I thought I'd better check Theo's. Theo's was also unlocked, and so was my parents' bedroom. So I then, made sure that the villa was secure. Now, that's quite concerning, isn't it? You've got an owner that is, I would say, obviously untrustworthy, couldn't give a two hoots, has lied in their description of the place, either doesn't want to reply to you or gives you a shirty reply back. you don't have an alarm system on the house, and they've left it unlocked, or they've left easy access for people. So we decided, as there wasn't anything we could do there and then, we didn't want to ruin our holiday, to be totally honest with you, in fighting back and forth with Airbnb or the owners. Plus, to be honest with you, at this point we decided that the owners probably weren't that trustworthy, and we felt that if we were to kick up too much of a stink, they might come into the house when we weren't there, cause issues, cause problems, just generally ruin our holiday. So we decided to just put up with it, go along with it, and we'll deal with it when we get home. So that was the plan, and that's what we did. So we had 3 weeks out there. Me and Theo had 3 weeks out there. My mum and dad had a further week out there. So when my mum and dad came home, I started the complaint process. It was done, the booking was made via my account, so I made the complaint process. And we put it all through. And to say that Airbnb's reaction and responses were underwhelming is a massive understatement. I'm so unimpressed with Airbnb. The general wear and tear of the place, they didn't seem to be that bothered, to be honest with you. I then mentioned about the cameras, and again, they didn't seem to be that bothered, even though, it's supposed to be one of their no-nos. They didn't seem to be that bothered. Not only were they not bothered, they had contacted the owners of the villa, and the owners of the villa said, no, there are no cameras. There are no cameras. So I sent them video footage and photos that I've shown you of the cameras in situ in that villa, and they're actually, but the owners say they're not there. Well, okay, you're either calling me a liar or the owners are lying. I've got the proof. Yeah, but the owners say they're not there. So we went back and forth on this, and they didn't want to know anything about it. I also mentioned about the security of the place, and they're like, oh well, these things happen. I'm like, no. Have we forgotten about Madeleine McCann? Have we forgotten about these things? Like, what on earth? The attitude of these things happen. No, it's not good enough. Certainly if you're not going to have an alarm on the place, make sure the damn thing's locked up. And you can pretty much guarantee that people in the area are going to know it's a rental property as well. So, really unimpressed. And every time I sort of went through this with Airbnb, they basically went through their spiel of, you didn't tell us within 72 hours. Well, what was to tell you? To tell you that the villa we were in, we're not happy with, but we've got nowhere else to move. We've got nothing else can be done about it. To be frank, I don't want a bathroom redone whilst I'm there on holiday. You go on holiday to get away from that sort of things. To tell the villa owners that we know they're lying and they can't give a two hoots about us while we're out there. I don't think you want to put your family in that kind of hassle and that kind of risk, to be totally frank. So their attitude was, you didn't tell us within 72 hours. Tough, couldn't care. So I appealed it, and they would just basically say, tough, we've made our decision, and close the complaint down. I had that 4 or 5 times. And so I thought, well, I give them, a fair choice, a fair chance, I should say, to do the right thing, And at first it was more about us just telling them, this isn't right, this needs to be changed. And then I'll be honest with you, then we were like, well, hang on a minute, I think we should deserve some sort of compensation. Evidently, Airbnb's attitude is, we've got your money. We do not care. Couldn't give it two hoots. So I'm putting this out there because I'm also being stopped being able to leave a review for this villa as well. So I can't warn other people about it, but I can warn people through our YouTube. So this is why I've got the address of the place. This is why I've got the pictures of the place. This is why I've made this villa. So people are very aware and very wary about booking through Airbnb, if you two still choose to. But also this villa in particular. I think the people who own this villa have a number of villas. That's the impression I get. Maybe they've written a sort of like a description of the villa, and they kind of thought, well, that just kind of spreads through all of the villas, but it doesn't, because it also said on the description it had a jacuzzi near the pool. Well, these things are built with the pool, set in the ground, with all the pipe work and everything. It wasn't there. So this is why I think maybe they've got a number of villas, and maybe this is one of their cheaper ones, and so they don't give a two hoots about it. I don't know. It's certainly the impression I got. So, maybe they didn't realise which villa I was on about. I doubt it, because it would have had the address on it and everything. But I just get the impression that the people who own it, own a number of them, making their money, they couldn't give it two hoots. So this is what this, it's nearly 20-minute video is about, really, is just to give you a heads up. Look into what you've booked. We booked our villa about a year before we, as soon as we got the flights. So the flights were, I think they come out 10 or 11 months before the actual holiday date. So we would have booked it, as soon as we got the flights, we would have booked the villa. What we should have done is kept an eye on the reviews after that booking, and as soon as we realised that the reviews weren't going the way we wanted them to, we probably should have booked somewhere else. That's hindsight. Hindsight is a beautiful thing. It did put a real dampener on the holiday. We had a great time, don't get me wrong, having that time with my mum and dad, having that time obviously with my son, and my son having that time with my mum and dad was priceless. Seeing the things we saw, our experiences, absolutely priceless, and I wouldn't want to change any of that. But when you've had a long day at Disney and you come back to a shabby, tired, rundown villa that you've paid a lot of money for, I say for 4 years for this holiday, that's quite frustrating. No, that's not quite frustrating. It's angering, to be totally honest with you. And just with our booking alone, with the money that they took from our booking alone, if they'd have shut the villa for say 3 weeks, they could have gutted the furniture, they could have done the repairs that needed to be done, all within one, our booking fee is like, so it would have all been done within the $5,000 that we pretty much spent on having that villa. So to me that just shows laziness and greed. If you can make the villa really, really nice at just the cost of one booking, why wouldn't you? So it's a shame. It's a shame. It has put a bit of a damper on it. It's made me feel that I probably won't go back to Florida, if I'm honest. I am planning another trip at the moment, possibly over to California and doing a little bit of a tour around there in an RV with Theo. I won't be booking a villa over there with Airbnb. I will do it another way. You're once bitten, twice shy. So that's why I'm saying this. So be very, very aware of what you're booking. Keep an eye on it. If you make a booking, keep an eye on the reviews. Don't think, what I don't know won't hurt me. It may well hurt you when you get there. So keep an eye on that booking. If you're not happy, change it. Because it could really, really ruin your time. I'm sure there are some lovely villas over there, booked through Airbnb. That's not the problem. There are probably some very, very lovely villas and probably some great villa owners. It's the problem where you don't have the comeback that I thought you did, and I think you should have, if things go wrong. That's where I think the issue is with Airbnb, and I think they really need to wake up and sort out some of their processes. Anyway, that's me, rant over. So this is why we won't be booking with Airbnb again. Certainly wouldn't ever book this villa with these owners or this villa in particular again. And so we just wanted to make you aware. And for your future travels, we want them to be as great and as memorable as possible. So if there is anything in our travels that makes me think, do you know what, don't do that, or if there's anything in our travels that makes me think, yeah, do you know what, do that. For instance, Turo car hire. Perfect. I was nervous about it, if I'm honest. Never used it before. Couldn't really find out a huge amount of information about it. But that went absolutely smoothly. George, the guy who rented the car to me, absolute sweetheart, brilliant. Couldn't have done any more for us. I asked him if we could take the car through a car show. He was more than happy for that to happen. I think he quite enjoyed the fact that we were enjoying the car so much. That was a wonderful experience. We had so many wonderful experiences throughout the holiday. So I'm not saying, don't try to go to Florida, don't do Disney. BA was amazing. Turo car hire was a bit. Avis wasn't, I have to say. Mum and Dad's car with Avis, that wasn't great either. That's on our previous vlog. I'm going to say a little bit about that. The main thing, it is on a previous vlog about the Avis car hire. The main thing that angers me about that is Mum and Dad landed in Terminal C in Orlando. They booked what we normally do is we book a compact car, the smallest car they have. Now, they are usually not as small as what we would call a compact over here in England or Europe. We would call a compact probably similar size to, say, a Vauxhall Corsa. Their compact seems to be the size more like a C-Class Mercedes. So Mum and Dad had a Chevy Malibu, if I remember, gutless. Made a lot of noise, didn't really go that quick. But anyway, so the first issue we have is my mum had a knee operation, so she had a stick. She was doing well after the knee operation, but off a flight and stuff, you're a bit sort of tired anyway, so her knee was acting up just a touch. So they went up to the rental desk to be told, we don't have any of those cars here. Don't have any of those type of cars here. You'll have to go to another terminal. Now, this is a woman walking up to them using a stick. And my mother will kill me for saying this, but a woman of an age, she's 60. So, she's over 60, but I can't remember exactly how much over 60. So I won't get myself in trouble because I don't want to overestimate, or not that I would overestimate mother. My dad, I think she's 63, possibly soon to be 64. I think. She'll shoot me for this. Expect a comment on this video. But she's a woman of an age and she's got a stick. But you don't have to be of an age, to be honest with you. Anybody physically looking like they've got a disability. She has a disability badge, for God's sake. And yet they sent them to another terminal. And then when they got to that terminal, they were told, there's plenty of these types of car over there. I don't know what he's on about. So evidently he was annoyed because he couldn't sell them an upgrade. He wanted to get his commission. He wanted to sell them something. They weren't going for it. We've travelled over there so many times in the past. We know the way it is. We know the deal. They prey on people because they're tired. They prey on people because they panic them into thinking, oh God, all your luggage isn't going to fit. We know the smallest car they've got is a Chevy Malibu. We know your insurance is included. We know all this. We've done it not hundreds of times, but tens of times. So we know what to do. Evidently, this guy was annoyed that Mum and Dad didn't go through it, didn't pay him the extra. So he sent them somewhere else to be told, yep, we got it, we can sort it. Anyway, not only that, they get this car, they drive over to Savannah and Georgia in it, and the media screen in it, decides to act up. Now, you saw that's not too big a deal. What it is when you're using your phone to do the maps, the Android Auto and iPhone, the iPhone thing. I don't have an iPhone. I have Android. The iLink, I forgot what that's called. Anyway, somebody put it in the comments. So if you're using that to use the sat nav, which they were using a lot, and probably play some music as they were going on as well, that screen would break down. So if you're needing to check on things, that would go blank for no reason at all. It wasn't like over bumps or anything like that. It would go blank, then it'd come back, then it'd go blank, then it'd come back. Sometimes it would go for like 2 hours, no problem. Sometimes it would be off for 10, 15 minutes. It's bizarre. Absolutely. It was like there was a loose connection somewhere. So anyway, when Theo and I arrived about a week later, in the first few days of the holiday, I said to Dad, well, look, let's take your car back to an Avis unit and get it changed for another one with a working screen. And I wanted to go on the insurance as well. So we thought 2 birds, 1 stone. So we went to an Avis local to where we were staying, and they're like, oh, no, we don't deal with that here. So, right, okay, so we tried to another one. Oh, no, we don't deal with that here. We only do electric cars. So unless you either want an electric car or, basically tough, go away. So we had to drive all the way to the airport, which was about an hour and a bit drive from us, which doesn't sound a lot, but, an hour and a bit each way, depending on traffic. I think we lost, in total, with going to the other places and traffic and hassle and paperwork and all, we lost about 3 hours of our holiday, really. So we drove to the airport. We were told to leave it in a certain area, which is what we did. And then we went into this hut, told them the issue. I put my driving license down so they could put me on the insurance, which they did very quickly, very promptly. And then they were like, yeah, just go and pick one from another row. Now, I have to admit, if I'm honest, I kind of assumed my mum and dad would have got an upgrade. Or at the very least, an apology. Like, I'm really sorry you've had to bring this back. It's not what we have intended. Go pick from such and such a row, which is a slight upgrade maybe. Please enjoy the rest of your holiday. Nothing. It was all done in grunts. It was all done in absolute misery. Like, right, yeah, there's the paperwork. Go take this and basically bugger off and go get a car. And we ended up with another Chevy Malibu, which, had a screen that worked, which is the main issue. Had an engine that didn't seem to. It was, as I say, gutless, absolutely gutless. So yeah, that was a real unimpressive experience with Avis. So I wouldn't hire through Avis again either. Over the years we've hired with Dollar, we've hired with Alamo, we've hired with now Avis. I think we've hired with Budget over the time as well. Avis was definitely the worst experience we've had, and that was a brand new car. I think I'd only done a few thousand miles. Where the car I hired through Turo may have been older. It's a 2015 car with over 100,000 miles on the clock. Nothing went wrong with it. It was absolutely perfect. No squeaks, no rattles. It was a really good advert for Ford Mustangs, to be honest with you. No squeaks, no rattles. Everything worked just as it should. I had Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. That's the puppy. It had Apple CarPlay as well. It did everything I wanted it to do and more. And it was half the price of what it would have been if I'd have gone through Alamo or someone like that. So in the future, I would definitely look into Turo again. They've got reviews on the people who rent them out, so you can judge the cars on the reviews and what people have said about them. So that was the disappointments, really. The disappointments in our holiday was the villa being really shabby, not looked after, and lied to by it. Airbnb not giving a two hoots about their customers once you've got their money. Once they've got your money, more importantly, they don't give a two hoots. And Avis, really, really bad customer a really bad attitude towards their customers, I should say. So so those are the negatives. A bit of a negative post for us, which we don't normally do, but I want to be honest. I want everybody to know the good, the bad, the ugly. And so you can make your choices. So it's the same with all of our vlogs. If we see something which we like, we'll tell you. If we see something we don't like, we'll tell you. We try and be as honest and upfront as possible. Information is power and the key. So anyway, I'm going to wrap that up now. I hope you're all having a lovely summer. We sure are. I've just finished a driver's awareness course, so I'm now about to enjoy the day. I hope you all choose to remember to click the like icon, please subscribe, and please hit the notifications bell. Theo would shoot me if I didn't say that. And we look forward to seeing you on the next one, whether that'll be a day out with Theo and I, or whether that'll be me doing work on the new salon. I'm not entirely sure, but I hope to see you there. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you soon. Bye.